Hello, friends! Today we are drawing a Rock the Rock Johnson, which if you're not sure what that is Dwayne the Rock Johnson, but like he's made out of rock, kinda like Mount Rushmore. Also, Dwayne the Rock Johnson is in fact a huge Elvis Presley fan, which is freaking awesome, just gonna say it. So, without further ado, let's get on to the video, eh?
Alright, and welcome to the voiceover. As far as drawings go, this one was not terribly easy. The good news is that there are lots of pictures out there of Dwayne, aka The Rock Johnson. So that's Dwayne Johnson, for those who are more familiar with him in his actor-producer aspect. But for those who are wrestling fans, you may know him as The Rock. Or you might just be like me and know that he's known as The Rock and have never seen an episode of wrestling in your life. Either way, there is lots out there to take from reference, but I actually had kind of a difficult time finding a reference that I thought would work for what I wanted, because I wanted something that had his face so you could still kind of tell who it was, but that was still at a slight angle so I could start getting some three-dimensional, almost rock-like effects in there. So I had to go through quite a few images, believe it or not, because most were like The Rock smiling or The Rock with sunglasses, and I was like, it'd be cool to put sunglasses on a mountain, don't get me wrong, but like, that's not quite the aesthetic I'm going for here. And although this is the channel where I take myself exactly 0% seriously, you know, I still have goals. I would like to have a decent Rock Johnson picture here on here. So, anyways, the good news is that I found one, and it was good. Very dramatic lighting, which was actually very helpful to some of these shadows that you'll see me start putting in. I used a chisel tip here to fill in some of the bigger spaces, just because using a 0.5 or 0.5 is fine, but using a 0.05 pen to try to fill things in is just ridiculous. It takes so much time. And so for some of the big chunks of shading, it's really nice to use something like a brush pen or a chisel tip. In this case, I ended up using chisel tip because my brush pen ran out of ink, and it was really sad. Of course, I didn't have a funeral or anything. I just chucked it in the garbage saying you're a piece of trash. So, I mean, I don't think the pen's feelings got hurt because it was dead at the time, but it's still not preferable, you know what I'm saying? Luckily, it did not hit anybody other than the trash can, so we're all good. And it prompted me to go through all of my other pens, and turns out I have a whole bunch of dead pens. Like, all of these pens could just be called, like, I'm not running a mortuary service, people. I should not have to throw away all of these dead pens. But it happens. Like, one of them I only used, like, once. And then I was like, wow, that was fairly nice. And then I put it in the little wine glass that I have full of pens. And did it stay alive? No, it died because it was like, you don't use me enough. And it was very sad. But the good news is I still have a fair amount of live and ready pens. And so now I have all the pens I could need for this, which is great. You'll see I'm going in with shadows here. Kind of a funny story, or at least funny to me, so hopefully you guys find it amusing too. I started shading with actually kind of like a diagonal kind of line on the lips, and then I sat there and I realized it wasn't terribly rock looking, if that makes sense. Like, the texture is fine, and I actually really like to use it for things like denim, and sometimes I'll use it for skin. But I realized that since I'm doing rock, it wasn't quite that roughness that I really wanted to, like, convey that it might actually be rock. So I switched to this kind of little scribbly motion, which you're gonna see a whole lot of because I decided to go with little scribbles. The good news is that, like, it's really easy to do little scribbles. If you ever want to try a fairly easy shading method, I think that the biggest issue with it is that it's really easy to lose control and let the pen go where you really don't want it to go. But so that's the negative. The positive side is that it really doesn't matter a whole lot as long as you're within like the shading zone. It really doesn't matter where your pen goes. Like having some variation honestly adds more depth. It makes it a lot cooler. So it's definitely one of those things you can just go free with, and it's really nice. I like it. So I ended up doing the jawline here, and I ended up doing the forehead. I actually kind of regret doing the lines above the eyebrows so dark, so it's gonna be that first forehead line. I feel like I made it way too deep, so to speak, but it's one of those things where like, the problem with ink illustration is like, crap happens and then you're just like, well, there we go. It's there forever. Hope I didn't hate that, and sometimes you do. But it's definitely good practice to keep an eye on that gnarly little pen that likes to jump out. And, oh, so here's where I start shading the rocks a little bit more intensively. I didn't want anything too complicated, and I also didn't want anything, like, too detailed, because, to be honest, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is, in fact, the centerpiece of this piece. I mean, how can I say, oh, I made a "The Rock" Johnson, if, when in reality, I'm just making a big mountain that kind of looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but isn't really him, you know? That's kind of where I got the inspiration for the Mount Rushmore idea, actually, is because I sat there. Woo! Sorry. Yes, I have kids. Yes, one just started coughing. He's fine. Hey, buddy, what's up? He's my little YouTube buddy today. Which is great. I mean, he's asleep now. He did not choke to death, people. He smiled at first, so he was like, hey, what's up? And then slept. Right, so where were we? Shading. Right, Mount Rushmore. I thought about trying to do something that was a little rougher, where his face wasn't as pronounced. But, I mean, I'm also doing a challenge this week that's like, draw 100 people in 1 week. P.S. I'm not gonna finish, like, drawing 100 people. But I am trying to draw a lot of people in a week at least. You know, it's one of those things where you just take a stab at it and you're like, alright, maybe something will happen. And I figured if I wanted to kind of follow along with that challenge, in the spirit of that challenge, I really should be drawing a face that's a little more humanoid and a little less, like, work golem or something. So, which if you're wondering if my work has golems, no it does not, but I mean, you can all dream, right? Live the Minecraft life or whatever. So, I ended up doing a lot of cool things here, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. At this point, my camera died.
It's really hard to draw rock people. So a couple things we've learned. One, it's really hard to make someone look like they're made out of rock. And two, apparently my equipment likes to overheat right in the middle of recording. So sometimes you only get part of the video. But the good news is I did take some pictures so you can see the final product. I'm going to post it. So the question came up, is he crying? Well, I would cry if I was made out of rock, so maybe he is, okay? Let me know what you think. Does it look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or does it just look like some strange rock man? Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe, and I hope to see you all later. Bye!